All right, here we go. Let's write another paragraph for your under God paper. No, we did. We did this one, that the words are unconstitutional. Now we're going to argue, no, they're not, which is a different paragraph. Do you agree that the words are unconstitutional? This would be your fourth paragraph. Do you agree? Yeah. Words are unconstitutional. Words are not unconstitutional.
You just have to switch the second paragraph from that.
Yeah, you agree with it. You agree with, yeah, that's right. If you agree with the claim, it's your fourth paragraph. You did this one. You didn't do this one.
No, it's the same thing. No, words are not unconstitutional. But it's this paragraph.
That the words should be allowed. They are not unconstitutional. Leave them alone. Okay. Just stick with me. You'll be fine. All right. Look at this claim. If you agree that the words should be left alone, you agree. This would be then your fourth paragraph. Pay attention to this column. If you say, yes, they are unconstitutional, then you do not agree with this. You disagree. Pay attention to this column. Okay? Label what you're about to do as either paragraph 2 or paragraph 4. We're skipping that for now because it's a different topic. The reason I'm doing this is because the last time we did this, we wrote the paragraph arguing the words should be removed because they are unconstitutional, and now we retort. That's why you need to make sure that you label what you're about to do as paragraph number whatever, because when you type this bad boy, if you don't label it, then you're going to have to refigure out, okay, which paragraph is this? But if you label it right now, smooth sailing. Okay? So we're writing it this way: topic, sentence, context, evidence, analysis. So the first thing we need to do is make our claim, which, if you agree, in other words, is your fourth paragraph, you're going to say the first reason the words should be left alone is because they are not unconstitutional. If you disagree, you're not buying this. This is saying the words should be left alone because they do not violate the Constitution. But you think, yeah, they do. Then you write the first reason some people claim the words should not be removed is their belief that the words are not unconstitutional. You have the look of a deer and a car is about to run you over. What? Do you think the word should be removed from the Pledge of Allegiance? They should be left alone. So you agree that the words do not violate the Constitution? You agree. This one. It's your fourth paragraph. Thank you.
Then what do I say?
The first reason the words should be left alone is that they do not violate the Constitution. Leave them alone.
Isn't that how we started the second paragraph last week?
No. That was this one. That the words are unconstitutional. You're now arguing the other side. Just stick with me. You'll be fine. Okay? Have we all succeeded in writing your topic sentence, which is where you're claiming either something you believe or you're presenting the argument of the beliefs of another group of people, but you're not buying it? Okay. The next thing we need to do is context. So now you're presenting what's going on at the time. The nice thing about this paragraph is it might be completely unnecessary to do this part, because look at your previous paragraph, the one you wrote about the other side of the same argument. Do you already present a contextual analysis that is sufficient so that the reader, having already read that paragraph, is well-versed in the situation going on at the time? If you feel that the answer to that is yes, then there's no need to re-explain what's going on as far as the constitutionality of this topic. You've done it already. With this caveat, with this exception, you need to do the context in paragraph number 2. It's got to be in paragraph number. It needs to be in the paragraph that you're going to have first. It's got to be paragraph number 2, which for some of you means this one. But for others, it's this one. You got to contextualize in your second paragraph, not the fourth one. You could, yes. So that might mean that some of you right now are going to the paragraph we wrote last time and just squaring in the context part and drawing an arrow down and saying, I'm going to put it in this one instead, which is totally fine. If you're still confused, figure out, is this your second paragraph or the fourth one? The one we're writing today, is it your second paragraph or your fourth one? If it's your fourth one, box in your context part of your, that's right. Then that other previous paragraph is correct because that's your second paragraph. If this is your fourth paragraph, that means the other one we wrote last time is your second paragraph. If this is your second paragraph, go to your previous paragraph, box in the context part, and arrow it down to here. Because this one is going to appear before the other one. If this is your second paragraph, bring the context from the other one to this one. As evidence, we're going to quote from document number 5. So you need your documents, right? You may have relabeled it. I have more documents, by the way. Anyone need one? Anyone else? Document number 5 is the one from the Claremont Institute. There, it's the second document, but it's labeled as document 5 for some reason. Really not still sure why I had it document 5. Okay, there's the credibility. There's the name of the author. There's the credibility. The part in the quote that is the good part, the juicy part, could be the first sentence or the last sentence. It's really up to you because they both basically say the same argument. The words do not violate the Constitution. No, they don't. Look at that last sentence. To hold that the Constitution prohibits a state or school district from allowing the recitation of a pledge that acknowledges the existence of God, we ignore the history and intent of the First Amendment. Right? It does not violate the First Amendment. Either sentence is fine. Or the first one's fine too. The addition of the words under God to the pledge and the school district's policy and practice of a teacher-led recitation of the pledge do not violate the Establishment Clause. They don't violate the Establishment Clause. It's just fine, according to the Claremont Institute. And then the footnote in parentheses, the number 5. For writing purposes, I hope you're not writing every word of your quote. What a waste of time. First word, ... last word. When you type it, type the whole thing. For now, save it. Circle it right in your documents. Fine. The next thing you're doing is interpreting what you think the quote means in your own words. The Claremont Institute believes that, and to dumb it down for you, they believe the words under God do not violate the Constitution. I'll say it another way, that the First Amendment is not in conflict with the words under God. Here's a third way. The words under God do not violate the First Amendment. Here's another way of saying it. The words under God do not violate the Establishment Clause. Here's another way. Do you get it? You have to say the same thing that the document is saying without saying the same thing that the document is saying. Don't you do this. The Claremont Institute, a nonprofit organization, says the addition of the words under God to the pledge and its school policy, blah, 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 do not violate the Establishment Clause. And your next sentence better not be, what the Claremont Institute is saying is that the addition of the words under God to the pledge and the school's district policy of the first what? You're re-quoting! Stop it! Say the same thing without saying the same thing. Now, I am talking right now to the people who are agreeing with this argument. Your example that I am giving you permission to use as a freebie is the Declaration of Independence. And in order to understand what's going on here, I need to inform you about the Declaration of Independence. Does anyone know how it starts?
We the people.
We the people of the United States, that's a preamble of the Constitution.
In the course of human history.
Very good. In the course of human events. Blah, 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 frickety, blah, blah, blah. Thomas Jefferson talks about that you are endowed by your creator with certain unalienable rights. Is inalienable. Okay. Among these are, do you know your inalienable rights? Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Notice, by the way, you do not have the inalienable right to be happy, but you can sure try. You have the inalienable right to pursue happiness. The government does not guarantee you the right to be happy.
So if my pursuing happiness involves me killing people, is that...
Wow. Okay. But do notice this, that there is another very important American document. It's called the Declaration of Independence. And it has a godly figure in it, your creator. Well, if it's okay in that thing, why can't it be in the pledge? Goes the logic. So explain that. In your own words, explain that the words creator, indicating God, are in the Declaration of Independence. That's a founding document. And if it's okay there, why can't it be okay in the pledge?
I have a good evidence for refutation.
Great. On the other hand, if you're disagreeing with it, you also clarify what the Claremont Institute is saying, but then you say, they're wrong. They're wrong. And here's your example. Here's your piece of evidence that I'm giving you. What is the official church of Wisconsin? And don't say Packers. There is none. There is no official church for the state of Wisconsin. There is no official church for the United States. No state has an official religion. You can't have an official religion. Here goes the logic. If you can't have a specific religion as the official religion, then you cannot have the words under God in something that school children have to say every day. So goes the argument. What you're arguing If this is your second paragraph, what you're arguing is that the words under God in the pledge are an endorsement of a certain religion. It's the same thing that somebody in here said, it probably will, about the word God is a capitalized letter. That's God, not some God. God, the Christian God, the only religion that refers to God, capital G, as God. Jews call him Yahweh. Muslims call him, oh my God, I forgot. Allah, very good, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Christians call him God. Yes.
Oh.
Sure, but that's not what we're debating.
A religion. What about atheists? What about them? How they feel? Shut up.
That seems like a reasonable solution. However, by the way, you don't know my opinion here, so I'm going to now stand and argue that there's nothing wrong with just leaving the word God capitalized. Just leave it. You're not forced to become a Christian by saying the words under God. So just leave it. Your argument is, yes, it is an endorsement. It sounds like, which is fine. No, you're not making that. Oh, never mind. Okay. Once again, you will wrap up this paragraph with the because A is true, B is true. Or because some people mistakenly believe A is true, they argue that B is true. If you agree the word should be left alone, then you will say, because the words do not violate the Constitution, they should be left in the Pledge of Allegiance. If you disagree, if you're saying, no, those words should be removed, your last sentence is going to go like this. Because some people mistakenly believe the words do not violate the Constitution, comma, they mistakenly argue that the words should be left alone, period. A is the claim of the paragraph, B is the claim of the paper. Because the words do not violate the Constitution, comma, they should be left alone, period. I now know your opinion. Over here, here's what they think. Which, of course, you've already proven to be wrong. If this is correct. Okie dokie. Questions? Let's give you till the big hand is on the 3 to finish this bad boy up, put it away, and then we'll get back to education issues. I fully realize, by the way, that some of you still have not presented your little PowerPoints. I know that.
Are we going to do it in the small group
150.
one?
Don't you mean we get to be here for another 45 minutes?
I like that rate.
You're welcome. It doesn't seem like that's what you mean, but 150, right? Yeah, we're here. A is what is the So your last sentence is going to go something like this. Because some people mistakenly believe the words argue the words.
I came late last week.
Isn't that like the same? Okay. What else?
Same thing with music.
So wait, what's the then if you're like against it? Are you tying back into
Where are you?
right at the if then statement?
Don't worry about that. If then statement is ignorable.
Well, darn.
Don't worry about the if then statement. That's for later.
One letter, W is 2 letters. W and WB is very different things. One is like
I understand.
Can I remove this and put the next topic up for bids? Are you serious, Matt? Do you need this anymore? We have 2 major goals left in this class. We have plenty of time to do it. This is week number 3 of this unit. Unit's over this week, which means Friday. You have class Friday? Yes. Sociology has class Friday. Friday, you will be given access to the Unit 1 exam, which is on the American family and the American education system. And what I mean by access is, if you're not done by the end of the hour, fine, I don't care. You have access to it. It's open note, open Google, open. Okay, it'll be due by the following Wednesday. So you're being given it Friday. You have 6 days to finish it. I promise that's enough time. Yes.
So are all PIA tests that you give out, are they all open?
No.
Well,
Not the key test, that's not what it's talking about.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, you want it?
Yeah.
So by open Google, you mean we can use the internet?
Uh-huh.
Could I have done that on my American history test?
Uh-huh.
Oh, well, it's
Okay.
Well, I mean,
Here we go. Does anyone remember what the functionalist sociologist says? Who is a functionalist?
A positive of a certain topic.
Very good. So she said, basically, a functionalist says there's a good reason for fill in the blank. Eventually in this class, we'll address racism, and we will try and figure out what a functionalist would say about the justification for racism. That there's a historically rational explanation for treating people differently based on race or skin color or whatever. And again, we're not defending it necessarily. We're just trying to understand it. What would a functionalist say? Can we make a prediction at your table, please? What are some positives of a public education as opposed to homeschooling or a private education? What advantages are in this building as opposed to Hill Murray or Cretin or St. Thomas Academy or being educated in your own house? So take a minute, try and figure out what a functionalist would say are the advantages of a public school education versus private or homeschooling. Go.
Well, there's the social aspect, yeah. I feel like public is free. You don't have to pay to go to a public school. Yeah.
Because if you don't get that social interaction,
You're
by the
gonna
time you get to be an adult, then it's gonna be
really
hard on people. Like go to a job and have to deal with
You're not used
social
to it.
interaction.
Yeah. What about like versus private? Because like public
school you
schools
would
are
still
free.
Private school, like it's expensive to go, but you still get some social interaction. But it's
We're just talking about public school.
Yeah, we want to argue for public.
That's why I'm saying it's not the same.
Yeah, it's not the same.
Also, like, public schools, they have, like, college courses they can take.
Another 30 seconds here. Advantages of a public school versus private or homeschool.
Yeah, and you can be involved in more things, I think, too, in private school. I've heard that, in private schools, the workload's a bit more.
Well, actually, also homeschooling people from
As a
homeschool
table,
people
do you have your best 1 or 2 answers? Because we'll just go around. Okay.
If they don't know, they can do that. They don't
Chairman
know.
of the table. Figure out the chairman of the table. Chairman, appoint the spokesperson. It's appointed, by the way. There's no denying.
I saw that. Oh, I thought you were pointing at me. I'm like, I saw that.
No, I said
Okay, spokesman of the table, in the interest of letting everyone hear it, will you just stand up and express? So we'll start with the table in the back. 1 or 2 advantages of a public school education as opposed to private or homeschooling. Go ahead.
Most private schools are linked to private.
We're almost there. Go.
Because we have a larger group of people who really see they have smaller amounts.
Very good. All right. Excellent. Thank you. Go ahead.
You said the cost for families and students and with clothes you wear, stuff like that.
Very good. So let's think about that cost thing. How much does it cost to come to this school?
It's taxes.
Free. Now you could say, well, wait a minute, taxpayers of Somerset. Okay, but
Not technically.
Those taxes.
yeah, many of you do not live in a financial situation where your family pays property taxes, so it's free, as in free. Okay.
Yeah, we pay for
I will call on you in just a second here. The family that sends their kid to Hill Murray still pays for you to come here, and they pay for their kid to go to Hill Murray because so he's trying to say, like, well, why? It's because of this belief that public education is what is known as a common good. That I could be an 80-year-old living in some small house down the road, and I, the 80-year-old, benefit from you being in this building because you will learn to be a good, decent citizen, and you will get a good job, and you will pay taxes that hire police that protect me from getting mugged. Right? Or connect the dots. Okay? Will.
You said that people pay taxes for your boss and voters. So I'm 18. So does that mean I'm your boss now?
Of course you're my boss.
Fired.
Fired. You're going right for that. Okay. Table.
We said that you can wear what you want here rather than at like Hill Murray, that's where it's uniform.
Is that true?
Yes.
Hill Murray is a uniform?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Let's just think about that, because if I were the defender of private schools, I might argue that that's not an advantage at all. That what you have in public schools is kids that wear skimpy clothing or clothing that has interesting words on them. And that what we do in private schools is remove the peer pressure to fit in because everyone wears the same thing. Now you don't have to worry about how you look in the morning. That would be a retort. I'm not saying you're wrong, of course. I'm losing. Actually, we're going to go to that table. How about that table? More freedom. Is that true? What did you mean by that exactly? Don't people that go to private schools, aren't they Americans? Aren't they the recipient of the same freedoms that you are? What did you mean by freedom? Choice of classes? They don't have choices at Hill Murray?
No.
I think they do. I think they do.
A larger assortment.
We'll think about that one. Okay. How's about this table right here?
Well, we basically said that, like, in a public school, you're exposed to more like diversity than you would be necessarily in a private school, and especially in homeschooling, like exposed to people of different religions, like different cultures, different skin colors, like everything.
And I would say, generally, you are exactly right. Now, I don't know this. Of course, private schools are going to have people of different religions and ethnicities, et cetera, but something tells me that they're a lot whiter than your urban St. Paul and Minneapolis.
No.
Okay. So this group, I can't wait to hear it because you haven't stopped talking.
So we said more choices in like activities, like after school clubs.
Okay, very good.
We also said like less stress. And there's like more like social interaction. And then if you're in a private school with like 10 kids in your class, rather than like a public school with like 30 or 40.
Very good. Okay. I think those are right on. Anything to add? Do you have anything original? Oh,
Yeah.
No.
You kind of you can get more opportunities. Like I feel like in public schools, there's more opportunities to be in sports and things outside of school. Whereas in private school, they kind of encourage you to just wear the school's name across your chest and be like, "Hey, you're part of this school. Honor us. Be good."
Very good. I think that's exactly right. Now, of course, private schools would say, "Hey, look, we're the ones with the advantages." I would argue one other thing that you might not have considered, and that is if your family is trying to send you to a private school, that private school can say no. They can say no to you. But the public school can't, basically. Now, why would that be an advantage? Because if you are a kid that has challenges learning, you have emotional issues, learning disabilities, that public school is going to do their best to educate you. Private school can just say, Billy's not for us. So I would say that's an advantage of public school. Okay, let's keep going here. This is the last slide that we're going to go over before we switch issues, and that is one of the things that conflict theorists, now I'm reintroducing another group of people called conflict theorists. Before I continue, can someone remind everyone in here, what's a conflict theorist? Go ahead. Very good. So they look at and say, gee, there's a problem with public schools. And here's one thing that conflict theorists accuse public schools of being guilty of, and that is the bestowal of status. And I want you, before I explain to you what you think this means, I want you to think about, and by the way, if you're writing this stuff down, that's fine. You don't have to. Just take a look at this example of what's called a caste system. This is American society. American society could be divvied up into groups based on wealth. So you got the elite, right? The richest of the rich. And then you have your upper class and your middle class, and then your poor, your working class, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And so a conflict theorist might look at the American education system and have some thoughts about this idea of the bestowal of status. So before I tell you exactly what I'm talking about here, I want to see if you at your table can kind of figure out, at least in this building, who are the haves and who are the have-nots? Who are the ones that own this school, student-wise? And who are the ones? Yep, it's you. That's right. I have a picture of you right here. Barry owns this school. You pay property taxes. Okay. Who are the ones that get all of the opportunities? How come he's the starting running back and starting middle linebacker? Oh, he's how come he got the starting role in the play? Well, look at his name. Okay, would you say that this school is guilty of treating certain people better than others? Teachers treating certain students better? Are we guilty of favoring the athletes in classes so they can keep starting so we can have a better record? Are we guilty of that here? Okay, have a little discussion at your table, and you can reject it saying, I don't see that at all. Do you see it at all or not?
I
Go.
see it to a degree. Because we try to be really fair, but I feel like sometimes people kind of expect what they expect, and your name can kind of carry you far. Especially the higher up on the food chain you are, name-wise. It kind of carries you a bit. It's not your be-all, end-all, but it can help. It can be a assistance. Assistance, but it's not your be-all, end-all. I'm the guy that's like I'm just getting football team. Yeah, I'm less to be.
One more minute.
Yeah. Nobody here is forcing you to do it. They might guide you to it. Like Bridget would be like, hey, you should try out for the play and see if you like it. Like, all right, and he did and he didn't. Nobody forced him. Necessarily forced him to join. Nobody forced him to quit. He just didn't want to do it.
Okay, let's wrap this up. And then let's wrap up. Those of you that are on your phones, I'm really curious why. Why are you on your phone? You're not supposed to be on your phone. All right. So a conflict theorist would say that schools favor certain people over others. If this accusation is true, then we staff treat certain people better than other people because we want them to, succeed, and we don't want you effing it up for them. Do you see that in this school, or do you think like I don't see it? Anyone want to share? Let's share. What do you think? There are the popular kids. You think so? You believe that the popular kids are treated better than the not popular kids? Why do I call him? Standing up so everyone can hear you. Go.
I feel like it's true to a degree because like it can help. It can be an assistant, like your name can, but I don't think it's your be all end all.
Do you think it happens here?
To a degree.
To a degree.
Okay. Very much.
Anyone else have some thoughts on this? Let's hear it. Standing. Arise. Yes. What do you think?
I think everybody here is just middle class. And there's only like a handful of people that are popular.
I would say that.
Do they get favored treatment though? They do.
Yeah.
From staff.
Yeah.
They do. Okay. All right. Okay. Are you going to be serious now? Okay. Will can talk.
I think it depends on the people. Hey, I'm sorry, but everyone be quiet.
Extend to him a little bit of courtesy. Go ahead, Will.
I think it depends on the people and the teachers. And also, as you get older in the school, you generally get more opportunities and they're better treated by the teachers. Because like, I know right now I can do more than I did freshman year. So. We'll get away with more.
Anyone else? Thoughts? That would be another interesting paper, wouldn't it? Write a paper on whether or not it's true and then find evidence to suggest it is true. And then if you buy it, say, yep, that proves it. Or if you don't buy it, say, well, yeah, but there's other evidence to refute that evidence. Okay. That's enough of that. Take another 1 minute break. I have my third of 3 goals today up here. Just a second.
I got banned. Slept so funky last night.
I have weight training right after this, and then I have 4 more breaks.
Okay, I'm ready. So every once in a while in this class, what we will do is I will present to you an issue and present evidence to support and reject said issue. And then I would love to hear your opinion about said issue. However, have any of you ever heard of vouchers?
Yeah.
Can you explain what vouchers are and what they have to do with public education? Have I already lost? You've heard of vouchers. What are they? What do you know about them?
Like when you vouch for somebody?
No, that's not what we're talking about.
Then never mind.
Okay, that's right. Anyone know? Yes? Not exactly. Go ahead.
It's basically like an organization, sometimes giving you a slip of paper. It's like, hey, hand this to the right or hand this to the right other organization, and you've got to pay for it. It's like there's food vouchers, gas vouchers, school vouchers.
Okay, that's what I'm asking. What's a school voucher?
So it's like you're being paid for. Like that school is being paid for you by the government or something else.
Okay.
So out of tax money, it's being paid for. Generally.
Okay, thank you. Will's right. So I don't know the exact dollar amount. I don't think Mr. Berry knows either, but it costs a lot of money for you to be in this building all year. And actually, I have a chart that shows how much it costs. But let's just make up a number and say, let's just say the number is $10,000. It costs $10,000 to educate you a year. Is it? Is it? And that is in today's numbers? Thank you for looking that up. Okay, so 11,000, what was it? Okay, so 11.5, let's just say 11.5. Why does the state of Wisconsin just give your parents a check for $11,500 and say, here, now, you educate your kid, send them wherever you want. There's some money. You can't send them to Hill Murray if you want. Mr. Berry, would you find out the tuition of Hill Murray? Thank you. And if it covers it, you're good to go. That's a voucher. So the state of Wisconsin gives your parents the amount of money that it costs to educate you anyway and says, here's the money. Go educate them however you want. In a private school if you want. So it wouldn't quite cover the cost of tuition only. Okay? You'd still have to fork over a couple $1,000s to go to Hill Murray. Okay? So now understand this, that we are using tax money to send you to a Catholic school if you want. If your parents choose, Hill Murray is a Catholic school. I had cousins that went there. Okay? So there's this political cartoon that shows this priest with a piece of paper in his hand saying voucher, and he's happy. And we've got this government official, and he's happy. This is generally a Republican issue. Republicans believe in vouchers because what they argue is if you threaten public schools by taking away students and saying you can go to a private school if you want, what public schools will have to do is improve so that nobody leaves their schools. So they're happy, but who's not happy? Public school, because we're losing kids. We're sending you to Hill Murray instead of coming here. Okay. Here's a chart that said in 2001 it cost just over 10 grand, and Mr. Berry has updated it more like another 11,000 per student. It costs over $11,000 to educate you per year. Here's an argument against that idea, and it goes something like this. That's unconstitutional. You can't do that. Does anyone want to explain why Jeb here? This is Jeb Bush. He was the governor of Florida. And as the governor of Florida, he proposed using vouchers. The state of Florida would write a check to anybody in the state of Florida with kids in public education saying, here, now send your kid wherever you want. And the argument against him was, you can't do that. It's unconstitutional. You're taking tax money and you are giving it to an individual and saying send them to a private school. That's religion. Hill Murray's Catholic school. Can you use tax money to send your kids to a private school so they learn about the Catholic faith? If I am a Muslim, my tax money is being used to send your kid to learn about Catholic religion? I, as a Muslim, would say, I don't think so. I disagree with that argument. Okay, that's what's going on here. The city of Milwaukee. Do we know anything about this? The city of Milwaukee? Good baseball team. I went to college there. It is the worst school district in the state. The last time I saw it, over half of the kids that go to Milwaukee public schools don't graduate. More kids don't graduate than do. That's a big question. Okay, no, that's right. A lot of poverty, a lot of gangs, violence. The value of getting a diploma is not quite what it is here, right? I think I'm talking to a room of 40 some kids. You want to graduate. You want that diploma. You want to go to college. You want to go in the military. Whereas a lot of kids in the Milwaukee area, they don't have those long-term goals. Their goal is to have fun tonight and get high tonight, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, so what happened was the city of Milwaukee went with the voucher system. Just the city. It's the only place in Wisconsin, I think this is true, it's the only school district in the state of Wisconsin that is allowing for vouchers. You can't go to the Somerset School Board and say, hey, I'd like my $11,200. I'm sending my kid to Hill Murray. You can't, but they can. They can. So what the city of Milwaukee did was they went to the families in the area and said, do you want to get your kid out of these rotten schools? Send them somewhere else. And what happened? They saw the effect of vouchers, city of Milwaukee, higher scores on the ACT. It worked. At least it appears to have worked. Okay. So there seems to be an argument that, hey, school vouchers work. But yet on that previous slide, I said, but you're pushing religion. It's unconstitutional. So what should we do?
How do you, there's some questions. How do you force the people to go to a Catholic private school?
You don't. You would be given that money, and now what do you want to? Where do you want to send your kid? You could send them to a private Catholic school. Not all private schools are religiously based. It's common, but it's not necessarily true. This is generally how Republicans and Democrats feel about the issues, and I'm dumbing it down quite a bit, but generally Republicans are in favor of vouchers and Democrats are against vouchers. They say that's using tax money to push religion, whereas Republicans say, but we're not forcing you to go to a Catholic school. Go to any private school you want. Go ahead. Go to a Muslim school. Go ahead. What's the big deal? Okay, so that's generally what this one is about. This is showing states and how much they spend. New York is really expensive. It costs almost 15 grand in New York to educate per kid. And then you have states on the other side. The cheapest state in the country is Utah, just under 6,000. 6,000. It costs almost double to educate you than it costs to educate some kid in Utah. Okay. I think I've shown you a sufficient amount so that your assignment, and this is an assignment where you're going to be reflecting on this, just a written little summary here. What do you think? What do you think about this issue? And I want you to come back into the room tomorrow ready to make a pitch to the group about your view about vouchers. Should they be used? Are school vouchers a good idea? Okay, I'm done talking. Be ready with some written statements. Be ready to say something tomorrow.
Because, like, the thing is why.
So it would be the state of Wisconsin, not the Somerset School District. The state of Wisconsin would be giving you the money, and now Somerset School District doesn't have the money because you're going somewhere else.
This money, you know what I mean? But at the same time,
No, it's from the state.
It's so hard for me to form a solid opinion.
I know.
Too, because there's good reasons on both sides.
Like, why can't people go to public school have